Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Maxi here, and I am from the likes of the Maxi Toys videos, as you guys should know me at this point. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our new Let's Play for the channel, and this time we're going to be hit on to the last Sonic Advance game for the Game Boy Advance, known as Sonic Advance 3. And, let me just say this right now about the fact that with this game, this is honestly one of my least favorites of the Sonic Advance trilogy of games. I mean, it's nothing bad or anything, it's just the fact that, well, we'll get into more details about this later once we get this Let's Play started. So because of that though, yeah, here we are, on to Sonic Advance 3. And obviously this game first came out in 2004 for the Game Boy Advance, obviously. And, it does have some interesting moments for this game, most notably with the partner system and all that stuff. But then again, we'll get into more about it later. And by the way, I really love the menu music. It's actually heavily borrowed from the Chow Race from Sonic Adventure 2. God, that's so good. But anyways, here's what the main changes for Sonic Advance 3 is that obviously we have Sonic and most of any other characters are locked. Again. Except for Tails, because as you can tell, this game has a partner system. So we're actually going to be picking Sonic and Tails to start with. And yeah, you obviously do need a partner with you, because otherwise that's the main emphasis on this game. Unless if you really want to able to do a co-op thing, then you obviously need a the Game Boy Advance cable link in order to do that. So, and yeah, this game does have its story. Basically, Dr. Eggman is planning to use the Chaos Emerald to build the Eggman land, and basically he managed to able to actually like scatter some of these places into a few different pieces into it, which it does remind me of a similar plot as in Sonic Unleashed, except the fact that rather than dealing with the forms of some darker elements with you know, Dark Gaia manual scripts or something. So either way though, although basically the actual plot remains exactly the same, it's just Sonic is trying to stop Eggman and all that stuff. So yeah, that's how it goes basically. So here's the other changes between the forms of Sonic Advance 1 and 2 is the fact that, well, this game now introduces hub worlds, where you can able to actually explore different parts of the hub world, and this is where you're able to actually go from place to place. And even especially noticeable, if you really want to jump into main levels, then basically you have to find those numbered rings, and then that way when you're able to actually enter the actual numbered rings, then you would able to actually just to, well, begin the act. And some people might find this a bit obnoxious to go through, especially noticeable in a 2D plane nonetheless. Even then though, that might be some conception for most people out there, so. And from the start though, we're actually going to begin the very first zone in Sonic Advance 3, where it's nothing like Green Hill Zone 3.0 or something. No, because we actually start the thing off by going through Route 99, which is basically a city level, which almost reminds me of the City Escape level from Sonic Adventure 2. So yeah, that seems pretty awesome, all things considered. So even then though, yeah, this is Sonic Advance 3. If you ever played any other Sonic Advance games before, most notably the first game and the second game, well, to be more specifically, it's like a combination of the two. Like, a lot of emphasis on platforming since the first game, and huge emphasis on speed since Advance 2. So even then though, it's more likely a combination of the two, except the fact that obviously we now need to rely on the partner system. So this meaning about the fact that, well, you're actually going to be constantly going to have to deal with the forms of some tag actions with your partner. So, and by doing so is the fact that you have to hold down the R button, and then if you, depending on what tag actions you're going to be doing, then you would able to actually just to go from alternative paths every now and then. So even then, we'll show those off until whenever we're able to continue proceeding for this game. So yeah, it's an alright zone for those of you able to actually know this kind of sort of thing. But there's one thing I really don't like about this game compared to the first game and the second game, aside from the Chaos Emerald system, which we'll get into more now in a second. It's just the fact that with the level design, I think the level design in this game is actually not that fun in my opinion. I think it's like, this game is easily the weakest of the Advance series. I mean, it's not that fun to me because of how the fact that usually, relatively speaking, it's just the level design is just all over the place. Mainly with likely due to the forms of there's a lot of cheap enemy placements, as well as some too many emphasis on, you know, just crushing blocks, and they always come off screen, and you never see what they're coming from. And as a result, though, it can give you a lot of life wasters, whatever that. It's bad enough that it informs about the fact that ever since in Mega Man and Base, that's obviously with screen crunch and everything like that, and also, you know, as I said before, cheap enemy placements, and also too many emphasis on bottomless pits, and also a lot of spikes. So because of that, though, yeah, the level design in this game wasn't all that great, though, just because it just feels a bit too much when it comes to difficulty spike, which I'm pretty sure enough, though, that most people seem to already know what I'm talking about right here, which yeah, as a result, that's all I can honestly try to say about this here. So yeah, this is the attack action right there. If you manage to hold down the R button, where if you manage to able to stand completely still, well, usually when you play as Sonic and your partner attack action with Tails, basically if you stand completely still and then if you manage to able to let go, or specifically if you're trying to able to let go of the R button, basically it actually decides to fling you upwards. But if you try to jump while you're using the attack action, basically Tails can able to hang you and then decide to able to take a flight. So yeah, just like in the forms of the old school Sonic games from the past. So yeah, it seems nice for that little throwback right there. So and obviously, if you couldn't tell already, that the reason why I'm struggling with this part, because yes, as I said before, another complaint about the forms of this game is that much like in Sonic Advance 2, the Chaos Emerald system is like a little bit tedious at points as well. So even then though, that although, except this time around though, rather than just trying to find those special stage rings, all 7 of these to be more precise, in any level throughout the game in Sonic Advance 2, whilst in the forms of Sonic Advance 3, that this time around though, we need to collect all 10 chows by each and every single zones. However though, the good news about the chow system is that once you have that chow with you, then you'll be kept it for good. So rather than just trying to able to replaying the exact same levels and trying to grab the exact same chow over and over again, so I think it's definitely a little bit of the improvement over what Advance 2 offers us, because you know what I mean, trying to find those 7 special stage rings is way tedious in Advance 2. Well, aside from those unlockable rewards you can get, specifically for sound tests, Tiny Chow Garden, bosses in time attack mode, and also unlocking Amy Rose in Sonic Advance 2. But usually, relatively speaking, is the fact that it's just a bit time-consuming to say the least. So, but I digress. But you know, you get the idea of what the child system actually plays out to be in Sonic Advance 3, is that obviously when you grab one, then you kept it for good. So, however, some zones usually manage to able to contain, well, obviously all 10 chow in each zone. However though, what's the reward if you manage to get all 10 chow in each zone? Well, there's apparently a special stage key, which we'll point it out whenever we do manage to obtain one, when we're able to actually just trying to find, you know, every single chow in the game. So, or to be more specifically, every single chow in the zone. So because of that though, yeah, you probably get the idea how this goes. So, and also, for those of you who lived in Japan, this game was also came out on the Wii U eShop Virtual Console version, which I have no idea why that English versions doesn't seem to able to get this at all, along with Sonic Advance 1 and 2 on the Wii U Virtual Console version. But obviously, if you couldn't tell from the footage of the actual this Let's Play so far, I'm once again playing this on the emulator, much like in Sonic Advance 1 and Sonic Advance 2. So because of that though, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of emphasis on emulators these days, because well, I was originally trying to able to actually go ahead and do this on my original cartridge form, but I refused to do it too, because even then though, it's just the fact that I refused to able to start all over again, and also at the moment right now, the progression I'm in on Sonic Advance 3 is the final special stage, which is by far the hardest special stage in the entire Sonic Advance trilogy by far. But that's just me anyway, so. Now, structurally speaking, when it comes to Sonic Advance 3, Rather than having like 2 acts and a boss fight, unlike the forms of how it does it on Sonic Advance 2, because in this game, especially noticeable that this is going to be the biggest Sonic Advance game by far. That's only because we actually going to be coming across into 3 acts along with the boss fight as well. So yeah, that seems a little bit more promising, doesn't it? Although it is a very similar thing for how it does it on the well, the majority of the Sonic the Hedgehog 4 episodes 1 and 2, to be more specifically, just because, well, despite the fact that those 2 games does have mixed reception, or to be more specifically, episode 1 does have its bad reputation to able to make a, well, let's just say too much emphasis on rehashing on things, and then episode 2 did it okay, but, no wonder why that we never get episode 3 after all, just because, well, episode 2 doesn't receive quite well reviews-wise, so I digress. But however though, the positive things about this game though is the fact that the music is really top-notch and also very catchy as well. And also there's going to be some interesting boss fights that we might able to come across into when it comes to the forms of Sonic Advance 3 itself. So yeah, that seems some stuff that we might able to be looking forward to, but I digress. And obviously, much like in Sonic Advance 1 and Sonic Advance 2 Let's Plays, I'm obviously going to be going for 100% completion. This is more specifically finding all 10 Chows in each zone, and also, as usual, getting the 7 Chaos Emeralds, of course. So, but either way though, it's going to be a little bit interesting to say the least, and also getting every single characters unlocked. Well, usually relatively speaking, there are only 3 characters to unlock this time around, which I'm presuming that you might be familiar with what the other 3 are. So even then though, but in order to be able to unlock those characters though, well, I'll talk more about that until whenever we get onto the second zone in Sonic Advance 3. So either way though, that's all I can really honestly try to say about it. I think for my first experience on Sonic Advance 3, it was actually good in the beginning, but at the same time, well, in some sort of like a negative way. Well, to be more specifically, although I honestly don't think this game wasn't all that bad, it's just the level design is just pretty bad. And also another thing as well is the fact that there's going to be a lot of emphasis on certain tag actions might actually, well, usually becomes like a negative effect here and there as well. Which, obviously for Sonic and Tails, they are fine, but when we get into the forms of the later zones, whenever we show off some of these different combinations of certain characters and what have you, oh man, things get a little bit screwy when it comes to the forms of certain attack actions and all that stuff. So either way though, believe me, you're never going to be able to missing out on much, so... And as you can see, we actually got all 10 Chow in a zone, so because of that though, you were able to actually get yourselves a special stage key. But if you're probably wondering, where is the special stage key? Well, turns out that you have to go back onto a previous act, but before that, basically it's the fact that, well, to get the key, you need to hit into one of those acts in between the forms of either Act 1, 2, or 3, and then when you're able to explore the level well enough, that as you can see, I've managed to come across into a special stage key. And that way, I should be able to keep that, and unfortunately though, you need to finish the level first, and that way you weren't able to keep the special stage key, because you can't exit out the actual, the level while you in pause menu, so you have to finish the level first. So yeah, it's a lot of busy work, but regardless of such though, the good news about this is that obviously you can able to take this game on the go. Well, assuming if you don't come across into a fake cartridge version of the game, which I remember back in the day in 2008, I think it was during Christmas that time, I somehow managed to able to get this game back in Christmas 2008, but unfortunately though, I've come across into a fake cartridge, what that means, this meaning about the fact that I can't save my game, so because of that though, that's just a bit of a scam when it comes to the forms of Christmas gifts back then. But, thankfully though, is the fact that I did manage to find another copy, which is basically the PAL version of, you know, the real cartridge version of Sonic Advance 3, and that way I have no problems with the actual saving issues whatsoever, just like in the forms of any other of my, well, Game Boy games at this rate. So, but it still becomes a little bit more of a a common problem nowadays, even especially noticeable with, well, to be more specifically, for some eBay sellers and all that stuff. So either way though, that's as far as I can say about it. And as you can see, I'm showing this off right now, even though that you've already seen the first bonus game as you saw for about a few seconds ago. Basically, the first bonus game is the fact that you have to able to, well, keep on activating those switches, and depending if you manage to able to be fast enough with those colored switches that you've activated on that animal capsule, and basically you would be able to actually just get some points depending on how fast you're able to activate the switch. And if you manage to able to become fast enough, if you manage to able to open up the animal capsule, then you get extra lives. So, and in fact, getting extra lives might be super essential, just like in the previous games for sure. So, either way though, there's not much else to write to home about. In fact, I might actually show off these bonus games just once, or maybe once or twice. Well, depending if I need to able to max out my lives counter up to like 9, because yeah, just like in Sonic Advance 1 and Sonic Advance 2, that's excuse me, that's basically if you manage to get up to 10 lives, then the game will actually expect us to tell us that, well, we can't go up to 10 lives, so it only just stays put in 9 lives as the maximum amount. So yeah, something's worth noting for anyway. So but I digress. So yeah, today's day is of course the 6th of April today, in this case in 2021. So not much else to talk about, apart from the fact that we've already got about 24 more days left until new Pokemon Snap is going to be on its way for the Nintendo Switch, obviously. So really looking forward to that though. In fact, let me know in the comments, because even then though, I'd like to hear your thoughts about, you know, just to see what the new Pokemon Snap is going to bring us something new to the table. So well, I'm sure that Tiana has already mentioned about that ever since in Pokemon Snap Let's Play, which I think she actually recently finished that since by the end of March. So, but anyways, here's the special stage in Sonic Advance 3. Much like in Sonic Advance 1, that obviously that you're gonna have to utilize the special stage Spring, and this actually leads us to a very strange special stage right there. Like obviously we still ended up just trying to collect rings and all that stuff. Except, as you can see, we're actually going to be riding on the Tornado 2, just like in the forms of Sonic Adventure 1. So yeah, that's actually a pretty cool throwback to the previous Sonic games for sure. Well, to be more specifically, since Sonic Adventure 1. So yeah, it's pretty awesome actually. So obviously, all you have to do is just basically collect rings, you know the drill. If you ever played Sonic Advance 1 and Sonic Advance 2, well, at least despite the fact that you don't need to worry about the forms of the well, the depth perception in Sonic Advance 1, as well as, you know, the time limits in Sonic Advance 2, and even Zero the Robot, that he was never make a comeback in this game. So, yeah, obviously the first special stage is actually pretty easy and self-explanatory. Now, with those little, blue strange things, as you saw, that I managed to able to win through, that actually doubles up my, rings collecting. So, because of that, though, definitely recommend you do that, especially noticeable until whenever we get onto the, well, the later special stages. Oh man, you definitely need to recommend doing this, because otherwise, it gets a bit progressively harder as we progress, sure enough, but, obviously, as I said before, the hardest one of the bunch, though, is actually the last special stage, and oh boy, I'm gonna have to do a lot of jump cut multiple attempts on that special stage, which, believe me, it is going to be a pain, like literally a pain, which that's why I never seem to do it on my original cartridge version, because I did try, but most of the time I keep failing that special stage, and no matter what though, you see what I mean. So anyways, once you finish all 3 acts, then obviously we now need to face off against with the boss fight. So yeah, pretty simple self-explanatory stuff, but before you're able to take on the first boss in the game, we have to deal with this particular robot, which apparently his name was Gemural, which almost inspires by Emerald from the likes of Sonic Battle, which by the way, Sonic Battle did came out before this game came around, because usually it managed to ties in the actual story with Sonic Battle, which I'm presuming that's what that is. So either way though, only a few hits on him and you should be good to go. But now we're going to be taking on the real first boss fight, which, of course, Dr. Eggman is up to no good. And his first boss fight in the game was actually known as Egg Hammer 3. I mean, what is this? This is like the third time he's going to be using something related to that hammer contraption? Like, I mean, what's next? The forms of Egg Hammer 4? Or, you know, Hammer Omega Hammer from the likes of Sonic Rush? Or Hammer Fortress, also from Sonic Rush as well? Jeez, it must have feels like that Dims must have really loved hammers and all that stuff, which, yeah, that seems a little bit obvious, so. And of course, much like in Sonic Advance 1 and Sonic Advance 2, that, or to be more specifically, Sonic Advance 2, that obviously you do need to aim for its glass dome, and if you're trying to able to aim the glass dome, then it actually deals the damage. And with your partner system usually more likely comes in, sometimes your AI will start to able to actually just have a good enough hits on him. So either way though, and I believe only 8 hits on most of any other bosses, then, well, Dr. Eggman is being toasted once again. Yeah. And obviously this game did manage to introduce the voice acting. In fact, I'll talk more details about the forms of the voice acting in terms of Sonic Advance 3 and doing at some point on, well, obviously this Thursday. Because obviously with Sonic Advance 3 uploading schedules in mind, these will actually going to be uploads in every Tuesdays and Thursdays for sure. Just because, well, obviously I just want to get the entire Sonic Advance trilogy finished and done with, so. Anyways, I think seemingly to say we got the endings off at this point here, so join me next time for Let's Play Sonic Advance 3. Instead, we're going to be heading on to Sunset Hill, so I'll see you guys until this Thursday. Later, fellas.